What's happening, everybody? I hope everything's all right. It's probably gents who are listening to this, but there's a decent chance that, especially in the beginning, having this be our first episode, probably some women as well. And listen, we're equal opportunity employers, you know? We invite and welcome everybody to come listen to this pod. Yo, listen, you're now tuned in into the After Hours Dialogue. I am your host, Nipho Phungula, Nipho. My full name, can't give up Makavi, if I'm being honest. Not necessarily because I'm afraid or nervous, but you probably can't pronounce it. Behind everything, the cameras, the lights, it's my boy Mo. I don't know if he can say hello to you guys. He probably can if he wants to unmute himself. Homie's a bit shy right now. Can't blame the boy, but it is what it is. As I said, you're tuned into the After Hours Dialogue. Be chatting about things that maybe we shouldn't chat about. We're not going to be too controversial. Probably won't be. But we're going to be extremely funny. Well, at least we think we're going to be funny. And please always remember, if you do get offended, it's just strictly banter. There's no need to get, worked up, fixed up. I'm excited. My goodness. I mean, Mo and I have been just grinding for months to try get this thing rolling. I mean, the equipment that we've been using. I don't know if you guys see, we're using a Shure mic right now, and it's not even the only mic we have. But listen, quality is what matters most. And this is what this podcast is about, quality. And we hope you guys enjoy the show. We really do. We're from South Africa. I already know there's going to be loads of jokes about my accent. Oh, his name is Lutando. He asked people to call him Luke. Listen, we've heard it before. Come up with some new jokes. And yeah, stay tuned. Every single week, we'll try to upload a new episode. I mean, we should be able to do it. If we don't, hey, something got in the way. But yo, listen, stay tuned, as I said, and enjoy. Like, if you're watching, make sure to add this to your playlist if you're listening. I mean, you guys know the deal. What's happening? We're here, After Hours Dialogue. Yeah, I want Mo to say something right now so you guys can hear his voice. I don't want you guys to get frightened, when you hear his voice for the first time. Say something, Mo. Say something. Let the people know I'm not here alone.
What's up, everyone? Excited to start. We've been putting in the graft to get this going, but glory to God, it's finally off. The ball's finally rolling, so yeah, I'm keen.
Sweet. Yo, I'm feeling the vibes right now. Let me take a sip of coffee to get the energy going. Vibey. Okay, so listen, this podcast really about health and wellness. Make sure, it's about health and wellness. It's about masculine imperative. You could say we're two young chaps, don't really have loads of experience when it comes to life, but we're still learning. And I think that's what makes this entire pod so interesting. We don't know everything. Genuinely, we don't. Do we wish we do? Do we wish we knew everything? No, because that would make life extremely boring. We're trying to figure everything out just as much as you're trying to figure everything out. I'm sorry, yo, Oaks, I'm also so gassed. The pod is called the After Hours Dialogue. We're shooting mad late. I think the time is like, what, 11 p.m., 12 p.m.? Yeah, somewhere there. We've been pushing the entire day, but we're here, we're live. What do? I'm a pugilist. So that's just a very fancy way of saying I am a boxer. I beat people up for money. I'm for hire. If you need somebody beaten up, I'm there. And I'm joking. I do so professionally. And yeah, it's a passion of mine. I'm super into health and fitness. It's one of those things that I just have to do every single day because it helps me mentally far more than it helps me physically. And I think that's what it's all about, just bettering yourself. Life in general, struggle is about bettering yourself. And that's what I'm about. But yeah, today is going to be more about a story time, regarding, me boxing. So right now as we speak, I'm like 0-1 in my fights, plural, you know? It's a bit of a problem. But, I take it as a learning curve. But let's not get it twisted. I didn't get beaten up, you know? I could come up with loads of excuses as to why I didn't win my first fight. But bottom line is I lost. Does the reason really matter? I take, full amount of responsibility. I take all the responsibility. And if I don't take all of it, I most certainly take most of it. I mean, where do I even begin with the story? I mean, it's always good to start with the story time. So let's set the dates to January 21st, 2025. Got the first contract that I've been waiting for God knows how long when it comes to, getting a fight in boxing. Because there's so much politics, especially in South Africa. It is ridiculous. I mean, it all depends as to who you know. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm here beating Oaks up, gym to gym. I'm changing gyms. Everybody's catching the beats. You know what I mean? Now it's time to perform. I finally get the opportunity, and I mess it all up. Am I vexed? Most certainly. But I believe that a loss is whatever you make it to be. So now you're probably wondering, yo, how did you even get this loss? What happened? Did they knock you spark out? Did they beat the brakes off of you? Did you catch the beats? The answer is no. I did lose. TKO, by the way. First round, but not like I got knocked spark out. It all began on that same day I just mentioned, January 21st, 2025. Making weight was hell. So I compete in featherweight right now, 2025. It's about, what's the date today? I don't know. It's somewhere in July. Compete in featherweight. But I'm walking around like, yo, 63, which isn't a large gap, especially when it comes to, making weight, but you have to do so safely, right? I didn't go about it the right way. Monetary funds was most certainly one of the problems, but also guidance. But I'm sure I could have made more of an effort to look more into those problems and get the help that I needed. To put a long story short, I tried to make weight. I still didn't make weight. And bear in mind, super featherweight, and I mean not super featherweight, featherweight is 55 kilos to 57. I'm sorry if you're somewhere around the globe where you're using pounds. We don't use any of that. Can't be saying 130. It's too large. But yeah, I could go deeper into the story. But what makes matters even worse is that, oh, dude, the gent that I lost to, oh my days, he wasn't even good. I mean, low key, I wish I got the brakes beaten off of me. I wish it was round 1, round 2, round 3, and I'm just catching the beats. BTA, belt to ass, catching an ass whooping. But that wasn't the case. I'm versing some scrub, some bum, some bozo. I'm not gonna lie. And bear in mind, this is the same gent who beat me, And I know I'm chatting a lot of waste right now, but yo, the guy's garbage. He's hot garbage, and I lost to him. And who do I have to blame? Myself. But I have to be honest. He seems like a great gent, because even when speaking to him, he's probably a better gent than I am. More approachable, nicer person in general. But being nice doesn't win fights, does it? Fighting wins fights. But he beat me. Damn. Such an average fighter. I mean, on his best day, he's average. Nothing fancy. Homie just put his head down and started swinging like he's Roger Federer. Zero technique, zero nothing. And the dehydration got to me, I'm not going to lie. I know it sounds like an excuse, but I call it reasoning as to why, what happened, as to why, the results occurred. That's a better way of saying it. But yeah, I mean, ever since that day, I haven't gotten an opportunity. I'm still beating Oaks up in the gym. Gyms, plural. I'm here going on crazy runs. I mean, when you're talking about endurance, boys, you're speaking about Nipho Phungula. I don't get tired. As we speak right now, I'm on like my 95th week streak on the Nike Run app. And you're probably thinking, oh no, this guy's probably running a K per week or whatever. No, Oaks, I'm running 51 kilometers each week, 17 Ks thrice a week. I'm not playing. My average pace, 440. Stop playing with me. That's the time that I'm on, you know? And imagine working that hard, Oaks, oh my days, fighting 4 rounds just to lose to a moron like that. God, jeepers. And I know I'm disrespecting this guy right now. And he has to understand if he listens to this, it's all love, you know? And I'm not trying to come across as condescending. I mean, it really is just banter at the end of the day. I don't take the loss personally. I mean, as I said, he seemed like a great gen. I didn't make weight, and I shook his hand and I told him, yo, bro, I'm sorry for not making weight because, truth be told, it was my fault. You know, truth be told, I did sign a contract saying, yo, I'm gonna come in, and the max that I come in weighing is 57 kilos, but I came weighing more, and he came in weight, so I can't even be vexed at him. But that's just the way it is. But if we're talking about skill, bro, come on. And I'm not even saying I want a rematch against this Shen, right? If he wants a rematch, yo, listen, I'm kind of obligated to sign the contract. Do you know what I mean? I mean, imagine he slips over the contract. He's like, yo, listen, I'm going to pay you the exact same amount of money as I paid you on our first fight. I'm kind of obligated to sign the contract, even though I'd like to get paid more. Because it's like, yo, I lost to a moron. Like, I'm sorry, bro. I mean, this Jen is... And Shane, bro, he seems like such a nice guy. But it's like, yo, I'm low-key kind of glad he beat me. Because as crazy as it might sound, I got humbled, you know? I know people are probably listening to me speak right now thinking, yo, this guy sounds as cocky as ever, as arrogant as ever. If he's humble now, how was he before? Yeah, you could argue that I was worse, but, you know, this is just the way I am. I love chatting shit, if I'm being honest. I love fighting. I love showboating. It's just the way that I am. I love giving people a show, you know? Chatting on the mic, as I'm doing right now, gives me pleasure. It's just banter to me at the end of the day. Fighting, competing in the sport of boxing, it's literally just a sport. There's rules and regulations, things that you can do and things that you can't do. And I'm not here complaining about anything that happened. And I pray that people aren't looking at me thinking, actually, I can't say I'm praying because I'm not. But perhaps people are looking at me thinking, no, this guy here, he's chatting waste. Absolute bosh is coming out of his mouth. But yeah, I don't really care. I'm all about having fun, living a healthy life. And yeah, that's that. So I've kind of said a lot about myself right now. Hopefully you guys have gotten a gist as to the type of person I am. Your host of the Off the Hour Dialogue. Yo guys, listen, if my speech is a bit, you know, crazy as I'm speaking, I keep maybe even stuttering. Yo, I'm sorry. I've been up for time. I mean, I got like what, 4 hours of sleep last night, trying to sort everything out. But yo, listen, for you guys, I'll do it all, no problem. I don't care. I don't care at all. So yo, Mo, that's the introduction done. Now you tell me, brother, how you feeling about the pod? What's the vision? What is it that you aspire this thing to be?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, um, hopefully the podcast gains traction. But I think what we've always discussed is this needs to be larger than just a podcast. There needs to be a brand, an international brand, um, and especially with things that we enjoy. You know, so maybe in the future, supplements, fitness clothing, etc. Because I think this needs to extend beyond the conversation, but a conversation is the start of it all. You know. So yeah, you're leading us forward. You're the voice of this podcast. We're gonna have many guests. Gonna have a guest the very next episode. And I think it's just also giving a voice to the South African youth because I think there's a lot of exciting things happening in our country, especially in the social media space because it's a space that hasn't been explored as of yet, and obviously still new. You know, so yeah.
No, I feel you on that one. And I most certainly agree, you know? So much going on in South Africa, and South Africa is just quite the unique place, isn't it? I mean, there's so many people who sound extremely different. Speaking of that, I'm sure there's people in South Africa listening to me speak, thinking, "Yo, is this guy even South African?" Oaks, my full name, I'm gonna say it right now, is Nipho. Like that's my full name. You lot probably can't even pronounce it. So I don't want anybody in the comment section talking about, yo, this Jen is, I don't know, some coconut, what, yo, I'm legit, you know? Probably doesn't even sound right saying that with this accent, but it's like, yo, I'm from Joburg, north side of Joburg. But yo, listen, if you guys want to make jokes, I'm all for it, you know? I'm all for a bit of bands. That's just me. But as Mo said, I mean, you know, there is loads to do in South Africa. You know, it's quite a vibey place to be at. You know, different people. You've got Zulus, you've got Afrikaans people, and then you have the rest of them. You know what I mean? No, I'm joking. I'm playing. Yo, listen, if anyone got offended, it's just banter, you know? And that's the one thing you have to remember. If you get offended, it's strictly just bans. That's what we're on. But yeah, man. Yeah. I feel like I'm rumbling. I feel like we should have, you know, planned some more questions. You know what I mean? But what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying?
I think, especially around your fight, what went wrong in terms of the weigh-in? Give us more.
Dwayne, so listen, chaps, let me tell you. When it comes to making weight, it's far more difficult than one would think, right? Because the thing is with combat, it's all about the number on the scale. It's not necessarily about the way you look. You know what I mean? So there's two ways to cut weight, or there's two types of weight to cut. There's fat, but then there's also water. But there's pros and cons with either one, you know? Cutting fat, the con is how long it takes. You can't cut a kilo of fat in one day. Fat, if I'm not mistaken, has what? 7,000 calories. Oaks, when I run 17K, I'm running at a pace of 440. I'm finishing in about like an hour and 20 minutes. That's 1,100 calories. 1 kilo of fat is 1,700, not 1,700, I'm sorry, 7,000. Can you imagine? So there's cutting fat and there's cutting water. The problem with the fat, it takes loads of time. You know, you get impatient, it's painful, but then it's cutting water. Cutting water takes far less time, okay? Regarding the water cuts, you can cut loads of water, kilos of water in one day, but you have to do so in a healthy way. So that rhymed even, my days. Anyway, I cut fat at first, and that took time. But when I was doing so, my protein wasn't high. That's the issue. So it was a thing of, okay, I'm eating at a calorie deficit, but whilst eating at a calorie deficit, my protein isn't high. I swear down, I was eating maybe max 50 grams of protein each day. I remember I'd eat once a day. I'd eat dinner. So I'd basically do intermediate fasting. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, intermittent. Can't even speak my days. But you guys know what I'm talking about, my days. Yo, listen, Mo, correct me. Correct me.
It's intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. Doesn't even matter. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'd do that. And I'd eat in the evening, right? But then my protein wouldn't be high. So I'm losing the muscle and fat. Protein is low. Can't maintain what I've gained, especially with the runs, the sparring, the pad work, and whatnot. So I'm getting weaker, low key, right? And then as the weigh-in started approaching, I started to cut the water. I started water loading. But I'd done so too late, to a point where I remember like 27 hours, maybe even 30 hours before weigh-in, because weigh-in is a day before the fight. My coach told me, "Oh, listen, I don't want you drinking anything until weigh-in. I don't want you eating anything until weigh-in." And it was fucking hell, boys. Like it really was. But I did it anyway, because in my brain, when I go through, you know, hard times, when I go through difficult stages in my life, I take it as a test. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm saying this to cope, but I believe when, you know, God gives me problems, he gives them to me knowing that I can solve them. He's just trying to test me to see if I'm that guy who I say I am, who I think I am. You know, you guys are listening to me speak right now. You're thinking, yo, this Jen, well, regarding the boxing, you're thinking, yo, he's this, that, and the third. He thinks he's Billy Big Bollocks, you know? And yo, you're well within your right to think that. But I think there's a bigger difference of saying what I'm saying, believing what I'm saying about myself after you've lost than before. You see, because the thing is in boxing is that there's loads of undefeated people and they're mad confident when it comes to fighting. They're mad confident, not even when it comes to fighting, but they have this confident aura about them. But it's in their record. They're not confident in their skill. They're not confident about how much they can take. They're more confident about the fact that they've never been beaten. But they've never been beaten because they've been cherry picking their opponents, which is their prerogative. I can't really be vexed at them. I mean, you can't fight somebody you don't want to fight. Nobody can force you to fight somebody. But, I'd be curious to find out how those same people would be after a loss. You know how I said I didn't get the brakes beaten off of me? For people who don't know what that looks like, go watch Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Errol Spence got delivered the beats. One of the worst, like one of the most severe cases of BTA, belt to ass. I mean, Crawford just whooped him, That's not what happened to me. My thing was the thing of, yo, I'm in one position the entire round. I didn't move anywhere. It can't be because I'm somebody who has fatigue or is tired, because my road work is unmatched. I could even argue unprecedented, but we're not gonna get there. But my road work is through the roof, right? But I was in one spot the entire time, and then he landed a shot, decent shot. I give him his props, and that changed everything. But that shot did the damage it did, not because of his power, because not even because I was caught off guard. The dehydration, it sounds like an excuse, but it's reason. Why did I get dehydrated? Because of the decisions that I made. So I take that. But yes, my goodness, where was I even going with this, man? I lost I lost my train of thought, bruv.
No, you were just giving us the full process
Of cutting the weights.
yeah.
Cutting the weight. Yes. So gents, were we even there? It doesn't even matter. Yo, listen. The weight cut was horrible. I was mad weak. I remember before fighting, right? The day of the weigh, even before you jump on the scales, you have to go through this medical examination. They check your heart rate, your pulse, blood pressure. My blood pressure was through the roof. The guy examining me couldn't even believe it. You know what I mean? Because he was like, yo, dude, how on earth are you 22 years of age, but your blood pressure is at this rate? It was the acute dehydration. I even have receipts on my phone to prove that, yo, listen, Oaks, I wasn't on my game that day, not because of skill, not because I'm cocky. It's because I didn't prepare well enough regarding the weight cut. And I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's my fault, But yeah, it's mad difficult, and it builds character. Losing builds character. One thing I will say, and perhaps I'm using this as a cope, but if I am, let it be. But one thing I will say is you learn significantly more losing than you would or when you do winning. I learned a lot, not just about the sport of boxing, but about other people, but about myself and what type of person I am. The way I took the loss was, okay, you just lost your first fight. After training as hard as you've been training, are you still going to train just as hard? And guess what I did, boys? I didn't train just as hard. I trained even harder. I upped the ante regarding my runs. You know how I said I run 17 Ks each run thrice a week, each week, so 51 Ks? It wasn't always like that. I started at about 6 kilometers, 4 kilometers actually, but then I gradually went up. At the time, I remember the week of my fight, I was on my 77th week streak, and I was running. The first run would be about 15 Ks. No. The first run would be 13 Ks, and then the last two runs of the week. So the second and third run would be about 10K, if I remember correctly. And then after my loss, I swear down on the 23rd of February, the same weekend I lost, bro, I upped the ante. I started running 15K on my first run, and then the last two runs were 13. No. 13. Oh no, what's it? I think at first I said I ran 15. So no, as soon as I lost, when I came back 23rd of February, I'm running 13K first run, second run, I'm running I'm running 10. Was 11. Because I'd have to pull up the stats on my Nike Run app. But the point I'm trying to make is I upped the ante. Right now I'm on 17. And to me, it was all just a test, you know? It's one of those things that just happen and it builds character. And that's what I love about the sport of boxing, you know? Things happen, unpredictable things happen. But that's just life, isn't it? You know what I mean? You have to roll with the punches and keep moving. So,
So, would you want your kids to sort of take up combat in future, or do you suggest that they stick to sort of traditional sports? So, you know, the school sports, cricket, rugby, football, basketball, or would you consider them doing that as well as combat on the side?
you know, that's actually like a really good question. Um, Before I actually answer that question, I have to also clarify. When I came back, I started running 15 kilometers first run. Second run and third run, that was on 13. So I upped the ante. I got the numbers wrong. And I got the stats to prove it as well. My goodness. I also have the stats to prove that as well. I run on the Nike Run app. Right now, as we speak, I'm a purple level runner at the age of 22. Do the math. I'm not waffling. Anyway, would I want my kid to partake in combat sports? Most certainly. But to do it as a living as I'm doing it, probably not. It just takes too much of a toll. You know, not just physically, but, you know, emotionally as well. It is the worst part about combat is how lonely of a sport it is, especially boxing. You know, you're in there alone. You know, like there's a lot of people on the outside and you have your trainers and people who help you. And I most certainly appreciate them, but ultimately you're there alone. And the problems that you face, it's only you who can get over them. People can try help you, but they can't do much. Do you know what I mean? But it builds a crazy amount of character. I mean, people seem to have this perception that getting punched in the face is like the worst type of pain. Trust me when I tell you, internal pain is by far the worst. You know, I'd much rather experience external pain, you know, getting punched in the face, even getting stabbed, shot by a gun. I'd much rather experience that than something like heartbreak. Personally, as I speak right now, never been heartbroken, bro. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine being in love with the Hun and some jank just pipes her out? Imagine, like, yo, I'd be gone, you know? I'd much rather get punched, beaten up, you know, than deal with that sort of pain. And also, what people have to understand is that you've got loads of adrenaline running through your body at the time, you know? Getting punched is not nearly as hard as you think. And regarding the whole like CTE conversation and debate, first of all, in order to diagnose somebody with CTE, they would have to be dead because you'd have to actually, you know, examine their brain, number one. And number two, there's specific shots that actually provide brain damage. And the brain damage only occurs from getting beaten up multiple times. But regarding my son, because I'm going to have sons, you know, fighting, I'd most certainly have them partake in the sport, but not as a living. It's not going to be a thing where it's like, yo, go out there, become world champion. I mean, it'd be great if they did, but I'm more concerned about the toll it'll take emotionally, mentally, than it would physically. Because nobody is going to tell you to train. You know, like for example, with me, with the way I'm running, not once in my entire life have I ever had anybody tell me, yo, go on the run, go to the gym. You know, I've constantly made my own plan, my own way to do what I need to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things. Will they have it in them? I pray they do, but what's the likelihood? You know? But as I said, it definitely helps with character building. It makes you stronger, not just physically, but mentally. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, dude, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. I'm gonna sip coffee. You guys can just chill for 2 seconds. And yo, Oaks, bear in mind, it's like what, 12 a.m. I'm drinking coffee. Hey, the hustle, the things I do for you, gents. But yeah, listen, Oaks. Um, this is the first episode of the After Hours dialogue. Hope you lot enjoyed this. Yeah, listen, me and Mo just put everything up quite recently. We are a bit fatigued, I'm not gonna lie. Probably should have had more energy. Try to have this cappuccino to just try, get me up to speed, but I'm not feeling the vibes. But I won't lie, time did pass by quite quickly. Yo, listen, every single week we're dropping. Like, I'm being so serious. Stay tuned. We're there. We're gonna vibe. We're gonna try be as consistent as possible. Not even. We're going to be as consistent as ever. Listen, add this to your playlist. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. You know the deal. It was lovely. You lot, stay beautiful.